Are you struggling with long engraving times on your xTool F1 or any of the other xTool Galvo lasers? Well, this video is for you. I also struggled with really long engraving times early on with my F1, and honestly, it made me not really do any metal jewelry or anything metal for that matter. Some engravings could take anywhere from 5 minutes up to 15 minutes or longer for a single piece. That wasn't okay when I was at home, and it definitely wasn't okay when I was on site doing engraving. However, a few months ago, xTool released an update to xTool Creative Space that allowed for smart engraving. And smart engraving completely changes the tool pathing and allows you to engrave a whole lot faster on a few objects, mostly metal or slate or kind of anything that doesn't have to do with heating or cooling. I'm not really going to show a whole lot of anything but metal in this video, but go ahead and try it at home and see what it's like. The worst thing that happens is you waste a test piece, and the best thing that happens is you learn something along the way. This video, however, is going to purely focus on engraving metal and jewelry faster on your xTool F1 or any of the other Galvo style lasers. I'm able to cut some engraving times from almost 7 minutes down to in the 1.5 to 2.5 minute range for a simple item. Take this for example. This right here is a beautiful engraved necklace, and this necklace took about 7 minutes to do with standard engraving. However, when we flipped over to smart engraving, we got the exact same result in about 2.5 minutes. And so I'll have close-up video of this and close-up pictures of this as we go. But we're going to dive in. I'm going to explain my settings and why I use Smart Engrave and the few areas where I wouldn't use Smart Engrave as well. Thank you for watching. This is Patrick with Created Workshop. Let's dive into this video. Okay, so for the time we're going to spend here in XCS, we are actually going to be on my computer in the house. So this is on my Mac. It's a little bit different than what you may be seeing on Windows, and I do have my F1 Ultra selected in here. But trust me, the process is exactly the same. The settings I'm going to use in here to show you everything is exactly the same. So let's get started by importing one of the graphics. We're going to click on the image import button right here, and we're going to come down here, and I've got it somewhere right here. We're going to import this. And now we're going to select all of this text, which I designed this in Lightburn. I could easily design this in XCS, but I designed it in Lightburn. And we can see that something didn't come out right with this graphic. I'm doing a little bit of a crash course here in Lightburn, but if you see an issue like this, where obviously in Score, we've got a cross like this, but when we change it to engrave, it fully fills in. Just choose it all and then hit this button right here, make a compound vector. Now it's going to look correct. So this is the graphic we're going to do on the money clip here in a minute. We're going to resize this to 24 millimeters wide. That's how wide that I did the engraving at. And so here we have our engraving. We're going to switch from blue light to fiber IR. Whenever you're doing anything with metal, you want to be using the fiber or the IR laser. We're going to, if you're on an F1, you're going to bump your power to 100%. On an F1 Ultra, you'll use some different settings. I've got another video on F1 Ultra engraving, which is why I'm not focusing on that here. Click on the button in the upper right-hand corner of your screen for that. Your speed you'll set to 5 millimeters a second, passes 1, and your lines per centimeter 300. You won't have frequency or advanced settings on an F1, so that's not of your worry at this point. If we were to just hit process right now and we go and look, this is going to take about 6 minutes. 5 minutes and 45 or 5 minutes and 54 seconds. And it's going to engrave just like you are probably used to. So it's going to just sweep left to right. And the reason it's doing those without, doing it grouped is because I have them ungrouped. If we come back here, we regroup it all, go back to process. It's going to be the exact same amount of time. so I'm not worried about that. But if we look here, this is exactly how it's going to engrave it, each item, and it's going to engrave left to right. There's a lot of wasted white space in this engraving. It's going to take 6 minutes to do that. That's a really long time. Here's how you're going to save your time when you're engraving with XCS. You're not going to change your settings. We're going to leave the settings exactly the same. Instead, we're going to come down to Process, hit the 3 dots, change it from Auto Planning to User Defining, and toggle on Smart. You need to watch it again, rewind it, watch it again, watch it as many times as you need to. But this Smart would be the same thing as Flood Fill if you've got a light burn enabled laser. Now we're going to see what that does. So remember, we were at 5 minutes and 54 seconds before for the engraving time, and now we're going to be at 1:29 minutes. Think of how much time that saves. 1:29 minutes from 5 minutes and 54, from 6 minutes to 1.5 minutes. That is a huge, huge savings. That's about a 75% time cut. And what it does now is, instead of drawing over the entire thing, it's only going to be drawing where the engraving is happening. So you can see how much less it's going to have to move. It's just drawing each letter, letter by letter. And this is why you're getting that savings. And then I'll show you with the other graphics, so that way you can kind of see how it works on something that isn't text. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and delete the proverbs from the screen. We're going to import the mushroom, which needs to be scaled, and it really needs to scale down. I'm going to scale it down to, I think I did about 12 millimeters. I can't remember exactly, but for the sake of this, we'll do 12 millimeters. And we're going to have the same issue that we had before, so we're going to select it all, make it compound, and everything looks correct. Again, we're going to flip to fiber, 100% power, 5 speed, and 300 for our lines per centimeter. So you can save the settings right here if you want to. You could type this in and type in like F1 jewelry and hit save, and now that's right there as F1 jewelry. So we've got this selected. I'm going to start by deselecting Smart, changing it back to user planning. So this would be as is a normal engrave, and this is going to take 8 minutes and 34 seconds. I do think this is a little bit bigger than what I engraved, but the time savings will still be there. So you can see it just kind of going left to right across the entire image. But if we change this from auto planning to user defining, toggle on Smart, and we go back, we zoom in, you can see that changed from 8.5 minutes to just over 3 minutes. And now it's just kind of drawing everything out. And so that's what it looks like from this side. That's what it looks like in XCS. But now we're going to jump over to some video of the actual engravings happening. I have sped them up because I don't want you to sit there and watch several minutes of a single engrave, but you'll still be able to see the time difference in the two engraves. What I'm going to do is play the videos back to back. So first you will see the non-smart fill version, and then you will see the smart fill version. I do want to put a little warning out there on the money clip. For some reason, XCS just decided to completely change the way that it was doing its toolpathing, and it came out with a very different time and a very different type of toolpath. I've not been able to recreate that. So what I showed you in here with the Proverbs Bible verse with the cross, that is the way I've been able to recreate it every single time. And the way that it engraved is not the way I've been able to recreate it. So sometimes you do get those slight glitches, but overall, engraving it in this way, engraving it with Smart Fill, will absolutely speed up your engraves by an astronomical amount. Let's go take a look at the actual engravings happening now. If you're wondering how I got my settings for what I wanted to engrave at, it's doing this right here. I started by generating a test grid in XCS, and I had it where it wrote a phrase, and you can see here at engraving, I went from 3 millimeters a second up to 7 millimeters a second. I later on did another one where I went from 8 millimeters to 14. just to test, and I ended up at 5. I just like the way it looked the best. And here we go. This is doing the traditional engrave. Again, this took right at, I've got it written down here, right at 6 minutes and 56 seconds. So obviously it was a little bit smaller than what I showed you in XCS, but all of that still stands. And you can see it's just going left to right. And there's a lot of wasted movement in this type of a toolpath. There's a lot of areas where it's not engraving. And even though this engraving does look phenomenal, and I really like it, it still took a long time. Almost 7 minutes to do this. 7 minutes, you're not going to be able to do an engraving like that on site. This video here, however, shows at about the same speed, sped up wise, it just drawing it. And this, instead of taking 6 minutes and 56 seconds, took 2 minutes and 33 seconds. At 2.5 minutes, you can easily do something like this on site at an event. You can just tell somebody, hey, come back in a couple minutes. This will be ready for you. I've done that many times, and it is just really great to do it. You can see them side by side here. I'll have some higher resolution video of them where everything's cleaned up at the end, but you can see they basically look the same. And this is the video of doing the money clip, where we're doing the exact same settings, except the non-smart version of the money clip took 5 minutes and 54 seconds. And you can see, again, there's so much wasted space, especially between the cross and the start of the word Proverbs, between the word Proverbs and the first two. Just a lot of wasted space there. Looks good, it engraves well, but overall, it's just a lot of wasted space there. And now it's going to engrave it with what should be the smart fill. It's kind of sort of smart fill, but either way, you're seeing a different form of engraving, and this with the smart fill would take 1 minute and 29 seconds instead of 5 minutes and 54 seconds. And it also looks absolutely phenomenal. You can see here the engraving quality. It still looks just as good. There you have it. It really is that simple to enable smart engraving and save a ton of time. I use this on all of my metal blanks, but the few that I don't use it on are typically wood, and really that's it. When you're going slow and you have it on wood, it'll kind of jump around a little bit and it could leave some lines. There are certain scenarios where I do use it on wood, but generally I don't. Just kind of play around with it in your specific setting with your specific vectors and see how it goes. There's a few graphics, like my Farkle graphic that I'll put up on screen here, that I definitely use it on because it's a lot of smaller text in that graphic. But if I was going to be doing a large cutting board that had a huge graphic that was very engrave heavy, I wouldn't use it on that because as it jumps around, it could leave some lines. But with metal, like you saw for both the necklace here and the money clip, both of those came out absolutely great. They came out sharp, they came out crisp, and in a fraction of time. Now, as I explained a little bit a few minutes ago, you have some kind of discrepancies within XCS sometimes. One of them was with the money clip. It engraved oddly with the first go around where it was on user or auto planning, and on auto planning, kind of XCS is picking what it thinks is best, and that time it engraved in about 2.5 minutes. And that auto planning was not a typical auto planning path. It was more kind of like a hybrid auto planning and smart tool path. Every other time that I reran that simulation after the fact, auto planning was about 6 minutes, and smart engraving, smart fill was about 1.5 minutes. So sometimes you're going to have those things. I'm hoping that xTool can kind of patch that up and fix that. But even if they don't, it's still 99% reliable when you enable smart planning that it's going to be the fastest possible engrave, and you're going to get a great quality result at the end of it. If you've not tested out Smart Engrave, I hope you run out to your shop right now, give it a try. And if you have used it, sound off in the comments below with some of the biggest time savings that you've seen. Don't forget to join the Created Workshop Facebook group. It's linked down in the description below. I also have 10% off at Monarch Pine. Monarch Pine is where I got both of the blanks that I used for this video. Monarch Pine's a great company. These are high quality stainless steel blanks and extremely affordable. There's a link again in the description below to head over to Monarch Pine and see Katie's hundreds, if not thousands, of different items you can buy from her store. And again, use the code CreatedWorkshop to save 10%. If you're interested in picking up an xTool laser, there's some links down below for that stuff as well. And if you do purchase anything through any of those links, then I will get a small kickback. It goes to help me continue to run this channel, to continue to make great content for you guys as well. If you just say, listen, Patrick, I don't know how to use my F1 or my F1 Ultra or any of my other xTool lasers very well, I need some help with it, I've got you. I offer one-on-one trainings, and if you're watching this video at the time of release, there's a few days left to get a discounted training thanks to Next Level Laser Conference, but any other time they're going to be $125 for a 1-hour training and $75 for a 30-minute training. That is completely one-on-one. It's just me and you and whoever else you want to have with you as we go through everything over a video call. I can walk through you step by step with your software, and I can show you exactly how to do different things in my software, and I can get you up and running in no time. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you like this if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, there's a button for that too. And I would really appreciate a subscription from you. Share this video with your friends. Head on over to the Facebook group, comment, let me know what other videos you'd like to see in the future, and I'll catch you in the next one.